Welcome to More Organised, Less Clutter, a podcast to empower individuals and neurodivergent families with practical, realistic tools to create a more organised, sensory-friendly, clutter-free and intentional home that works with your lifestyle and brain, not against it. I'm Narelle King, a professional organiser and neurodivergent mum who understands the unique challenges of family life. I help people just like you simplify your space, build sustainable organisational systems and create more breathing room physically and mentally. Every fortnight, you'll hear solo episodes and guest conversations filled with practical strategies on decluttering, home organisation, routines for neurodivergent families, mindful living, and how to build a home that feels safe, calm, and functional. You'll walk away with actionable takeaways you can implement even if you only have 10 minutes to spare. Imagine walking past your playroom and your child is quietly building, pouring, or sorting, and there's no prompts. There's no "I'm bored," and you can enjoy 5 minutes with a hot cuppa, and that's the power of simple invitation to play. Today, I'm diving into 5 top ways to create invitations to play for young kids. You'll learn how to keep setup simple and how to match invites to your children's interests and their stages of development. I'll also share some examples of play that you can set up in under 5 minutes using what you already have, like trays, blocks, and Play-Doh. So if you're ready for more play with less stuff, let's jump into More Organised, Less Clutter podcast episode. Today on the podcast, More Organised, Less Clutter, I'm discussing why play matters and the benefits. And I'm also going to share with you 5 top ways to create invitations to play for young children. And I'll also share a few examples you can set up in under 5 minutes using things that you already have in your home. Play is the main way that young children actually learn, and it's through the playing that they develop certain skills. So one of those skills is their cognition, and it's how they think, they process, they experiment with different toys, they maybe test ideas out, and even invent rules to solve problems. It really helps to develop their confidence and also their resilience. They're also going to learn skills around their social emotional development because they're going to be practicing waiting, taking turns, and also developing relationships and regulation of their emotions when they're playing with toys. They also develop motor skills. So it's both their fine motor skills, so like their pinching, threading, and then it's their gross motor skills. So this is like kicking, lifting, carrying, jumping, throwing, and building. The other skill that they will be developing is their communication, because they're going to be using language to express maybe their thoughts, how they're feeling, and their needs. And the way they may express their needs may be through mouth words, but it might be through sign, it might be through gesture, it could be writing, visuals. An invitation to play is when we arrange the toys or set them up that invites children to come and explore. And there's no step-by-step instructions, but it is clear to them where they can begin. So an example is that we may have a puzzle out and have all the pieces turned upwards, and maybe we've even started part of the puzzle for them. So this is saying, here's the puzzle. This is sort of how you could do the puzzle, and it's allowing them then the freedom to play if they want to. So having invitations for play has so many benefits for both kids and for adults. Kids are then understanding that there's a starting point. So they don't have the overwhelm of what do I need to do with a box of cars, for example. You could actually place the cars out, have a couple of bridges or a road started to be built so they understand, oh, this is what I could do with these toys that are here. It's also then child-led. So they're choosing what they might play. So if you have a couple of invitations of play out, they will choose then which ones they feel motivated and want to play with. And then just having those few pieces allows for them to then explore with what they might like. Now, the benefits to parents is it only takes a few minutes to set up. And then you may find that your kids will actually explore for a lot longer. And you can then just watch what their interests are and sort of plan towards it. So if they're really interested in building, you may then set up invitations to play with a few different styles of building. It could be blocks, it could be those magnetic tiles, or it could be some sort of Lego Duplo. It also means you can watch the patterns of play that are coming out. So I will go through a couple of the schemas, which are like patterns of behavior that helps children understand the world. And you'll see these skills emerging, and so you can then build on that the next day. So the connecting schema is a really great example. It's like trying to make objects connect together. So this might be like on that building example using Duplo, building train tracks, magnetic blocks. Then it may be you've seen them do that the next day. You may place things like threading buttons or threading little beads. Also, you might extend on that and have things like craft, and they're gluing or sticky taping things together. The benefit I have seen by having invitations to play from being an educator, also with my own children, but now working in families' homes and helping them with their toy organisation, is seeing less visual clutter means that there's not such overwhelm, and kids are more likely then to play in the area rather than saying I'm bored because there's too many toys to choose from. 5 ways to create that invitation to play. My first one is keep it simple and also really visible. Getting a tray or a mat and having 2 to 3 things for them to start with. So it's really clear this is the start and here's a few other objects that you might like to play with. This, as I said before, actually helps to reduce decision fatigue. So kids can see where they need to start and they don't need to think about it, and then they can just build on that. It means fewer items, less overwhelm, more focus, and hopefully longer engagement. One of my favorite activities is having like a sorting tray of some kind. It could be a muffin tray, and having pom-poms and little tongs. And the children then may start sorting them into colour and making sure that the tray has an even amount. To add a little bit of a challenge to it, you could add a sand timer to actually create that challenge. And it could even be taking turns. So you're having a go after your child's had a go to introduce the taking turns part. So number 2, use open-ended bases. When I mean an open-ended base, I mean it's the one category. So it might be blocks, it might be Play-Doh, it might be water play, or it might be little loose parts, and then you add something novel in there or some texture. This just encourages their thinking and also their creativity. And if you add something novel, it just means that then they're a little bit more curious to explore. So it could be some novel thing that you've used in the kitchen, and it's something that you've then added in for them to use with Play-Doh. It's familiar. It's then maybe feeling safe, but they're happy to maybe experiment. So a great example is like Play-Doh and adding maybe your rolling pin, and it might have their one that comes with Play-Doh, adding some bubble wrap, maybe even some wooden blocks or beads, depending on the age of the kids. Number 3 way to create invitation to play is thinking about their interests and also the skills that they have. So if they're really fascinated with dinosaurs or cars, the schema that they're really interested in is pouring, stacking, or enclosing, then look at adding toys or things that are going to help them to explore this and extend their actual skill. Number 4 point to help with the invitation to play is make it really accessible for kids. So that means having your shelves really low, maybe having picture labels, little baskets, and then small sized tools. Like I said, the tongs, they could be small. This way kids are able to start without having to ask for help. And it also means that they don't need to lift and reach and carry. It means they can use that energy for actually being creative and thinking about their play. A great example is for having a water tray and having 2 cups and a funnel and maybe a towel, and just allowing them to explore. To extend on this, You could even add some ice blocks as well. That's always really fun for kids. The final point, number 5, is to build cleanup into the invitation to play. This is such a great routine to build in. It's also going to help when they transition into a kindergarten or into a school. So having a dustpan, a little mini dustpan, maybe you have a returns basket that they put the toys in and you're the one who separates it out or puts it away. Maybe though, if the area is labelled, they're able to put some of those away. It really creates that executive functioning skill of plan, play, and then reset. It also means that the cleanup feels a bit like part of play and not a punishment. We don't want that to create friction, and also reduces that transition in regards to stopping that activity. I will share a couple of extra invitation ideas and actually link it to the schema as well. So the transporting schema is when they like to carry objects in bags and containers. And I see this one all the time and parents get quite frustrated with it. If you can provide like trucks, prams, carts, even things like buckets and containers and bags for gathering wooden food or plastic food, if you don't provide the containers, kids will go and find them. They'll tip things out so that they can use that container or that bag to be able to practice this schema. Next one is enclosure schema, and this is when they want to build a house or a wall or a fence around the toys or even around themselves. So if you provide blankets and pillows for cubby houses, or even tray with animals and stones and blocks and small boxes, then they could build around it. The positioning schema is when they're placing objects in order. Setting up like a muffin tray like I used earlier with the pom-poms is going to be great because they could sort colours into it. Also, maybe having the masking tape lines, they can then line up cars, soft toys, or any other toys that they have. The enveloping schema is when they want to wrap objects or themselves and even post objects into containers. So having a pouring station, maybe dry rice and some jugs and a funnel is going to be great. Also your Play-Doh, and having muffin trays and loose things like buttons and little things for them to poke into the actual Play-Doh. And the other one is around like maybe using dolls and wrapping them into blankets, soft toys into blankets as well. I hope by sharing this simple setup, invitations to play, that your kids will actually use, that you have now the confidence to start to use this with your young kids. The examples will help you to get started in under 5 minutes using what you already have. I also recommend you going back and listening to my episode with Jackie from the Play All Day app. There's some amazing examples on the app, and even looking at purchasing that app and having the activities right there in front of you. Thanks for listening to More Organised, Less Clutter. Sick of stepping on blocks at bedtime, hunting for dolls' shoes, puzzle pieces, and spending 20 minutes packing away the same pile of toys every night? Our toy organisation 4-step system will help you cut down on toy clutter, set up zones that spark independent play, and create storage that kids can easily maintain. Let's create a calmer, more organised playroom that makes cleanups quick and easy and under 5 minutes. Head to simplyhappy.com.au and click on the resources tab to get instant access today. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.